The item that you see looks simple. It is a wooden platter with a glass top. Nothing dramatic, but for me, this kind of work is never just about the object. There's always a story behind it. Not just about the piece itself, but about how you learn to see materials over time. I did not learn this from tutorials or from watching videos. Woodworking is what I learned while I was growing up. I was around the people who worked with wood every day. My father worked in a furniture manufacturing company. He wasn't just managing from a distance, he understood the work. He had learned carpentry himself, so when he was handling projects, he knew exactly what was happening on the ground. And as a child, I would go with him sometimes, walk through those workshops, watch people work, machines running, tools moving, wood being cut, shaped, finished. And what stayed with me the most was not the noise, it was the smell. Freshly sawn wood, lacquer, thinner. It is strange how certain things stay with you. Even years later, you remember them clearly. The furniture they made was not decorative, no luxury designs, mostly straight line work. It was clean, practical, functional. Furniture for schools, hospitals, offices. Things that were built to be used and not admired. There was something very honest about them. They were good quality, but did not have any unnecessary detail. There was no pretending. Basic structure, purpose, and good quality, and finish. Now, years later, I find myself coming back to wood again after indulging in interior design and architecture. But my approach is in a different way, a smaller scale, more personal, but within the same material. And over time, I've noticed something that I did not think about back then. That we try very hard to change what wood naturally is. We paint it, we cover it, we try to make it look like something else. And I understand why. Sometimes the natural color is uneven, sometimes it's not perfect. But that's exactly what makes it real. So I'll say something that might sound a bit strong, but I still believe it. That hiding natural wood under artificial finishes feels wrong. Maybe calling it a sin is too much, or maybe it's not. Because wood already has its own identity. It does not need to be forced into another one. So in this video, the goal is simple. Remove that does not belong. This layer of polish, the surface that has been added on top, it's hiding everything underneath. So we begin by applying a paint remover, letting it sit, letting it do its job. This part takes patience. You can't rush it. Over the surface, um, there's been layers of color and polish applied by a polisher who clearly did not understand that I wanted a natural finish. Once the paint remover is applied and the surface starts to soften up, you can see the change. It begins to lift, to break, and separate from the wood. And then we start removing it using a brass brush, slowly, carefully, not forcing it, because the goal is not to damage the wood, just to remove what is covering it, layer by layer, and the surface starts to come back. This is where it gets interesting, because you begin to see the real character underneath. Grain, tone, variation, things that were completely hidden before. There is something very satisfying about this, not because it's fast, but because it feels honest. You are not adding anything, you're not decorating, you're just removing the interference, letting the material speak again. And that's not always easy because we are used to adding, not subtracting. Sometimes removing is the real work. At this stage, the piece starts to change. It no longer looks like a finished product, but it also does not look hidden anymore. It is somewhere in between, and that's where the process becomes interesting. Because now you can start to imagine what it can become. This is just a beginning. The surface is open again. The wood becomes visible after a while, but the final result is still ahead. In the next video, I will take this piece further and show how the natural character of the wood comes back fully.